Hey, Fred.
What?
Are we going downstairs to get my Infinity Gauntlet?
Well, why don't you go downstairs and get your Infinity Gauntlet?
Because it's haunted.
Fine, I'll go get the Infinity Gauntlet.
What's up?
Josh?
Come on now, more margaritas. Come on now, more margaritas.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Packrat Comic Show. I'm Jack.
And I'm Josh.
And this week we're talking about our pull list as well as Wolverine and the X-Men. Molly's talking about young H.P. Lovecraft.
Yep, and Caroline's going to be talking about the final issue of Mark Waid's Irredeemable.
Yeah, so here we go.
Alright, so what's on your pull list this week?
This week I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Wolverine, New Mutants, Batman Annual #1, and Animal Man Annual #1. What about you?
Jeez, greedy much? It's like 20 comics. I got Batman as well, Amazing Spider-Man, Ghostbusters, and finally the thing that we were both going to talk about, Wolverine and the X-Men #11. Now, what did you like about this book? Because obviously Avengers vs. X-Men is heating up, and how do you think this book played into it?
I think this was an interesting book because it kind of took place in between some panels of AVX #4. And it kind of encapsulated the events of that issue, but also had a lot of really cool character stuff going on.
Right.
Especially with Wolverine, it was really, really subtle actually. But just having him not being able to kill somebody.
Yeah.
And you'd expect that to be such an easy thing for him to do because he's killed about 100 million people.
Yeah. Give or take.
Roughly.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see that internal struggle that he's having, and the stuff with Kid Gladiator was also really interesting. And I think the one thing that's been solid on this series is Jason Aaron's ability to characterize all of the students at the school and all the faculty really, really well with very little screen time per character.
Right. Now, Kid Gladiator I thought was interesting because I wasn't a huge fan of his character from the beginning, but now that I kind of see that there's a little bit more depth to him than I originally thought, and the backstory with like his father and what, how he's kind of playing into the whole Phoenix saga is definitely interesting. It sounds, obviously there were, more emotional moments, like you're talking about Wolverine's internal struggle, obviously thinking back to the things he had to deal with Jean and everything, and still kind of wrestling with those demons. But for me, like, one of the best parts of the book was seeing Red Hulk fight Iceman.
Yeah.
Because I always thought it was kind of goofy. The Red Hulk's just kind of like, when I get mad, like, I get really hot. And now it's given a little bit of a battle advantage.
Got the hotness
slightly,
going on.
Little bit.
Very strange. And I like Chris Bacalo a lot, but I really like Nick Bradshaw in this book. I think he's got kind of a lighter style to his art, more cartoony style, and I think it fits really well with the tone of this book. So if you're not picking up Wolverine and the X-Men, you should be picking up Wolverine and the X-Men. It's probably top 5 Marvel books coming out right now.
Yep.
Hi guys, it's Molly again, and the book that I have for this week is Young Lovecraft, which of course I was interested in because it's got that kind of fun ooky spooky thing going on, and what would it be like to be H.P. Lovecraft as a kid? And everybody knows who H.P. Lovecraft is as an adult, as a writer, and the books and the mythos that he created, but how would you envision him growing up? Well, these folks decided to do just that, and they started as a webcomic, and they've got 2 graphic novels out. I read them both. It's a lot of strip style comics, like you would see in the Sunday comics of the newspaper. So it doesn't really continue past a certain point. The story is just told in as a sequence of gags. So young H.P. Lovecraft, or Howie as they call him in the book, has to deal with the kind of things that most kids have to deal with: going to school, not wanting to do homework, being bullied. His parental figures are his 2 aunts who he lives with, so he's always worried about getting in trouble with his aunties. In some ways it's a lot like Calvin and Hobbes, because he's very imaginative and young, and so the book will kind of teeter off into this is what he's picturing and this is what's actually happening. There's a couple of funny, like really funny sequences, like he creates a golem to do his homework for him and basically do all the things that he doesn't want to do himself, only to find out that the golem can only like sweep the synagogue and like, you know, just basically hang out and isn't nearly as useful as he hoped it would be. Other things that go horribly wrong, almost everything goes horribly wrong. He summons an eyeball to fight a bully. He has a undead dog as a ghoul slash pet that tends to attack people at random. Honestly, if I was going to rate this book on a scale of 1 to 5, I would give it about a 3. I think that the weakest points are the artwork. There's a lot of talking heads and there's a lot of blank backgrounds. The characters don't look like they interact with their environment in a realistic way. I think that could be stronger. There are some times when they review older books and he's reimagining how the story would take place if he was writing it, which they do with like H.G. Wells and Moby Dick and other like famous books. The artwork does get better in quality, but it's kind of separate from the story itself, and I would like to see artwork that makes the characters and their environments go together.
Okay, as a lot of you probably are aware, the long-running series by Mark Waid, Irredeemable, ended last week at issue 37. And this series was originally sold as a Superman Goes Evil story, which, you know, isn't exactly original. There's been a lot of those written. But this one, I think, was very different. Mark Waid really worked to create something that wasn't just a carbon copy of the DC universe. Even though the main character is definitely a version of Superman, there's no, like, Wonder Woman analog or Batman analog. All of the supporting superheroes and characters are very original, although there are some things taken from the Superman mythos, like the Plutonian having a civilian identity, Lois Lane type character. But again, it's original enough that it was really kind of stunning, actually. Very dark in a lot of parts. It contained a villain, Modius, who I believe is probably the creepiest villain I've ever read in comics. But the ending was something that I really didn't see coming. Mark Waid had said repeatedly in interviews, including the one I did, that he had known the ending from the beginning, and I didn't really understand how that was possible until I read it, and then I understood. It was such a shock that I actually read it at about midnight, and then I was up until 3 a.m. because I was so keyed up I couldn't settle down and go to sleep. And don't go looking for the ending if you don't know it already, because it's something that I feel really loses its impact if you don't get the experience of reading the whole thing first. I have like a lot of thoughts about this comic that I'd really like to kind of get down in paper, but all I can say for right now is if you like Superman, are interested in looking at him from a more philosophical point of view, and you don't mind some really dark material, then you should pick this up.
Alright, that's all we got for this week, so thanks for watching.
And remember to shop local and July 14th.
Yep. And speaking of shopping local, USAstroJacks.com, local retailer here in Ohio that sells Astrojacks, the toy that I was playing with in the beginning of the skit that you just saw. They are actually offering a very nice discount through the entire month of June. You get 20% off on their online store if you use the coupon code we've got on screen right now that says Packrat Show. Pretty easy to remember. So if you put that in at their online store at USAstroJacks.com, you get 20% off everything they've got for the entire month of June. And that's it. Thanks for watching.
See ya.
See ya.
Stuff to talk to you about, but I never know how to say that sentence.
Just
And this week I'm not going to say it
to
anyway.
talk to you
Alright,
about
let's go.
concerning the release of publishing comics.
What's up, guys? I got some stuff to tell you. Okay.
Hey, stop that with your boss. What? You gonna start taking my fanny gauntlet? Fucking shut up, Bob.
That was great. As soon as I turned the camera on, you're like,
All right.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to this episode of Packrat.
You can't do that.
Keep it in.
his face was all like,
It looks better. Just do this the whole time. Okay.
hang on.
Yeah.
Can't even get your whole faces.
How's it look? Shoot it again with. I want to do that again. That was awesome.